Hey class, welcome to Abroad Sex Education, where we discuss everything you wish you learned in school. I'm your host and mentor on menstruation, Sin. And today, my co-host is Asa.
Hello.
Hi, Viva. Welcome.
Yay. Thanks for having me back.
Of course. This podcast is a sex education resource intended for an adult audience. We'll be having real, inclusive conversations about sexuality, pleasure, relationships, gender, identity, and more. Some topics may be considered explicit or sensitive, especially in this lesson, where we'll discuss menstruation, medical misogyny, period pain, and period poverty. Please take care while listening. Our goal is to break the stigma and provide the kind of sex education many of us never got. We're learning too, and we're bringing what we learned straight to the classroom so we can all grow together. You deserve to know what this is about, so you can make an informed choice to listen. Or not. That's what consent looks like, even here. Today's lesson is called Chill. It's just blood. Understanding the menstrual cycle.
Blood.
Blood. Wahaha. Alright, before we dive in, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much do you understand the menstrual cycle?
I don't think extremely high. I think mostly that is because of memory loss. I was taught it in school, but I don't think that I could go through every phase and know exactly what's happening. So I'm going to say out of 10, I'd probably say like 4.
Oh, okay. Do you feel comfortable bringing up in conversation?
Yeah, I don't think there's necessarily a problem. I don't think that I'm most like intelligent in terms of like information on it, but I don't think there's a problem of necessarily discussing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, okay. I've learned while researching this episode, there are still a lot of elements that are unfamiliar to a lot of people when it comes to menstruation. There's just a lot of things that people don't really feel comfortable talking about. And from my perspective, I've never been afraid to talk about my period. I've never been afraid to discuss menstruation because I was always just of the mindset of like, this is just something that happens to you. So like, why is it such a big deal? I remember I just always seemed to have like a heavy period, or I didn't have access to the appropriate type of period products.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember bleeding through my pants was always such a common problem during my period, especially during high school.
Yeah.
And so a lot of girls will do that thing like, oh, can you check my pants, check my butt? And like there had been several times where my parents would have to come and bring me more pants just because I like
Had
bled through my pants. And so I remember in one particular scenario, we had a substitute teacher and she was one of those subs that's there to like give you a writing assignment and just wants you to be quiet the entire time.
Or put on the movie and walk away.
Right.
Yeah.
But we were doing some sort of writing assignment where we had to stay quiet. Because I remember it being English class. And my English class was right next to the bathroom. Like literally like just walked out of the building and it was right by the bathroom. But for some reason this sub was like so difficult about letting people go to the bathroom. And so like I remember raising my hand because I was like, oh shit, like I could feel it, and I was just like already at a point where at the time I was using pads because I feel like also you don't really learn much about like how to use menstrual products. Like you're kind of given like pads or tampons as a kid.
Yeah.
And like pads are just easier because it's just like you put it on your panty and you leave.
Right.
And so I remember just like either needing to have a pad or like was worried that my pad was like overflowing. So I raised my hand and I asked the substitute, can I go to the bathroom? She's like, no. And I think part of the reason why was because this class was right before like our break. So it's like we should have already had been able to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And she was like, no, you can't. And I was like, what the I was pissed. I was like, what the hell? And then I like waited 5 minutes, but I was like so sure.
Yeah.
Like, I was just like anxious about it. I was like, I'm bleeding. And so in my head, I'm just like, oh, like, I don't want to have to call my mom to bring me more pants in the middle of the day. So then I raised the hand again. I was like, can I go to the bathroom? And she's like, no. I was like, I'm bleeding.
Yeah,
I was like loudly in front of the whole fucking class. I'm on my period right now. If you don't let me go to the bathroom, I'm going to have to leave class to go to the office to have them call my mom to bring me pants. So if you let me go to the bathroom now, we can avoid this whole situation. Most of the class was my friends anyway, so it wasn't an issue. But like, I've never found it a big concern to have
like a taboo topic.
Yeah, because this is just something that is happening. I can't like control it. And I remember the guys coming up to me like, you were just so like, I was like, yeah, I'm pissed. I'm on my period. She's not helping me.
Yeah.
She's also a woman, so she should fucking understand.
Yeah.
But then after that, she's like, oh, okay, go.
Yeah.
I was like, I shouldn't have to like
defend yourself.
Yeah, like I'm still quietly trying to do the project, but I'm also trying to like go to the bathroom. And so, yeah, I never saw that time again, but I remember that's probably like one of my most distinct memories of my high school experience.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was always really weird.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, I feel like because what most girls start having their periods, I guess, what, middle school into high school, I would imagine, right? Or
most people with uteruses. We're also trying to be very inclusive in this episode.
People with uteruses, yes, very valid. Yeah, but yeah, that I guess that makes sense. Like I'm trying to think of like when I had memories of like hearing that people needed to do that. I think that was about when it would be.
Yeah, I got my period when I was probably in middle school. I remember being either in 6th grade or because I think it was when I was like 12, like 11 or 12. I remember it being like more like a preteen age of when it happened.
Yeah. Yeah, that sounds good. Let's get into it.
All right. So in today's lesson, we're going to go into biology, where we're going to do a clear breakdown of the menstrual cycle, discussing what it is, the hormonal shifts, why bleeding happens, and what cramps are. Then we are actually going to go into a biology lab where Asa is going to try a period pain simulator. We already tested it on me to like what level my periods are, but Asa's going to try it. And I'm interested to see how you react to that pain.
Yeah, I'm actually really excited. I've definitely seen like that come up on like YouTube videos and things like that before, but that's never something that I've had a chance to experience, so I'm excited.
And then we're going to go into history and geography, where we're going to go into how historical beliefs around menstruation evolved into social norms and systems that shape stigma, access, and experience today.
Sounds good. Yeah.
And then at the very end, we're going to do a true or false quiz covering common questions about periods. And I think a lot of it, you can use the information that you learned in the biology section as a good reference.
That sounds good. I'm excited.
Awesome. All right. All right, biology. So what is the menstrual cycle? The menstrual cycle is a hormonal monthly pattern experienced by people with uteruses. It is a cycle that lasts between 21 to 35 days. What happens during this time is a uterine lining is shed when there's no egg fertilized in the uterus. If there is a fertilized egg, then there's no cycle. There's no menstrual cycle because the uterine lining is there to protect the egg. The menstrual cycle consists of 4 phases: the menstrual, follicular, ovulation, and luteal phases. So, the beginning of a cycle begins during the menstrual phase. So it's day 1 of when you get your period. The menstrual phase actually happens at the same time as the follicular phase. So the menstrual phase, which is when the uterine lining sheds, happens during the follicular phase. When you shed the uterine lining, it's also known as endometrium.
The lining itself?
Yeah, the lining is the endometrium. There is a medical issue called endometriosis, which is associated with extremely painful shedding of the
So
menstrual
like
cycle.
every time that you get to that phase of the cycle where you are shedding that lining, it's particularly painful to shed the
Yeah, that's what
inside of that. Okay, got
that's endometriosis. The follicular phase is the beginning of rebuilding the lining.
So the new layer that's being
Mhm.
set up. Yeah.
It's getting rid of the old blood and adding the new blood. So what's actually happening hormonally when you enter the menstrual phase is there's estrogen and progesterone levels drop to its lowest point, and that's what causes like the start of your period.
Right.
And an actual shedding of a lining can vary between like 2 to 7 days for a
So
person.
that's how long it takes to fully bleed out the entire old lining that's in your system.
Yeah. And then up to 14 days for follicular phase on top of that.
Which there's some overlap there, it sounds like, that these are happening simultaneously.
Yeah. Because follicular is still days 1 through 14, but menstrual phase is just days 1 through up to 7 of that. And then during the follicular phase, the pituitary gland, which is a gland in your brain that is in charge of producing hormones in your body, it increases the FSH hormone, or follicle stimulating hormone, to stimulate the follicles in your ovary.
Right. So the uterine lining is, in this case, it's just the landing pad for new eggs, right?
One, usually just one. Can be more,
Yeah.
but it's just one. A dominant follicle will release the egg during ovulation. So that follicle stimulating, it'll tell the ovary like, hey, one of you's got to release an egg. Oh, and you know, like a woman has every egg that she's ever gonna have in her lifetime when she's born.
Right. Yeah. You get all of them in the system at once, and then you slowly release one month after another.
That's why you get into menopause. That's later because that's when your body's
I'll add eggs.
out of eggs. I'm sick, everyone, by the way, if you can't tell from my voice, but that's why there was no new episode last week. Couldn't record. Got sick.
You're most of the way better, though.
Yeah, working on it. So yeah, typical symptoms of the menstrual phase are cramps, fatigue, headaches, emotional sensitivity. You get tired, like you just want to nap and rest and sleep. Sometimes you just don't want to be touched. You just want people to leave you alone. Oh, like some people with uteruses have a sensitivity to physical, like you don't want to wear anything too tight because it just feels constricting. After you get past the menstrual phase and get deeper into the follicular phase, it's the best time hormonally for most people with uteruses, because this is your body also tell you like, oh, this is the best time to mate. You know?
When you say best time, you mean like the most stable or like most productive? Or
The most productive, like your energy rises, you're like more focused, you have better mood, you're able to think a lot clearer. Like there's just a lot more hormones that are being released that are stimulating like a more
lively,
like more
period.
being able to do shit. Not period, but like a phase. Yeah. Day 14 is when the follicular phase ends. Again, it can vary from body to body, but on average, it's day 14. And then after that, we go into the ovulation phase. So this is specifically when the egg is released and is going from the ovary to the fallopian tubes. And during this time, this phase only lasts from 12 to 24 hours.
While the egg is actively rolling down and being released into the...
Yes.
Yeah, okay.
When a couple is trying to get pregnant, this is like the time you can get like sticks that are like the pregnancy sticks, but it'll tell you if you're ovulating, because this is the best time to like have intercourse to be able to increase your chances of getting pregnant.
I'm wondering if those tests are measuring like the estrogen levels of like urine or something then, or how do you know?
It measures the luteinizing hormones because that surges during that time period.
And that's in urine? It's released in urine?
Yeah.
I see.
So you can also have intercourse before the ovulation phase because sperm can live inside the uterus from 3 to 5 days. And when an egg is in the process of getting fertilized by sperm, it's getting fertilized when the egg is traveling through the fallopian tube. I didn't know that when I was younger. I thought it was like it didn't get fertilized until it was in the sitting. I thought it was like it sits in the uterine lining, and then that's when the egg fertilizes it. But no,
Oh, interesting.
sperm fertilizes the egg while it's in the fallopian tube, and then if it's fertilized and it attaches to the uterine lining, that's what creates that zygote, and the baby starts to form.
Like it has to be detached when it's fertilized, and then once it is fertilized, that causes it to attach to the lining.
To the lining, yeah. So, yeah. And so that's why if sperm lives in the uterus from 3 to 5
multiple
days, then this is like the peak time to be able to get pregnant because you're releasing the egg.
Right, I see. So then when you say there's the short window of 12 to 24 hours when this luteinizing hormone is surging, is that the last part of that 5 days? Or this is the ovulation? Okay, I see. The ovulation phase is just like I'm releasing this hormone and it's the peak point when the egg is rolling down the fallopian tubes into the uterine lining. And so the actual fertilization time, ideally, if you were trying to have a baby, would be prior to that, because you would want to have intercourse in the time so that when it is released, you still have sperm in the system.
Yeah, when you know you're about to start ovulating, plus like when you're ovulating,
right,
is the best time to just get pregnant if that's your goal.
So like if you take the ovulation test and you see that you have these surging hormones, that's the time, like immediately. That's
when you go for it. Yeah. That's why they have those kits at the store. Yeah. So this is the time when also estrogen peaks. That luteinizing hormone is what surges and what you can test for when you take an ovulation test. And then progesterone also begins to rise. Also, ovulation phase is also a really nice time. Not for everybody, but some people experience like you're like more social and more confident. Like you feel a lot more because again, your body's trying to get pregnant. And it's like you feel a lot more positively and more outwardly.
You're more social, like more
You're just more social.
More, like, active.
Yeah. And you're just more horny.
Yeah, right.
Your body's telling you, oh, it's time. So yeah, you feel a little more open to having sexual intercourse in this phase as well. So higher confidence, more social energy, increased libido. So that also happens during this time. And then the last phase is the worst one, the luteal phase. I am currently in my luteal phase. The luteal phase is the worst. The luteal phase is essentially the phase where like, I'm PMSing. That's what luteal phase is.
What does PMS stand for?
Premenstrual syndrome.
Premenstrual syndrome. Okay.
It's considered a wide range of physical and emotional symptoms. So this is when all the shit happens. That's because it's like your body's going through all of these fucking hormone surges. So common experiences, lower energy. You're just like tired all the time. Your breasts hurt. Like it's painful. Like just imagine your arms are hurting for no reason.
Right.
And on top of that, it's like if someone touches your arms, it hurts even worse.
Yeah. It's no fun.
No. Then bloating, you bloat more. That's annoying. Your mood changes. And that's even worse because you can cry for nothing.
Yeah, right.
Because you have all these, for some reason, emotions about like the smallest things. Irritable, you get mad. I get super irritable.
Mm-hmm.
I literally told you today if we didn't go to Korean barbecue, I was going to be mad at you all week. And then increased need for rest, which again, today I napped for like 3 hours
Yeah.
in the middle of the day. You're just so tired all the time. Your body's doing so much work. And then also, this is when progesterone increases, also when estrogen is increased, which our other sometimes co-host, Brooklyn, mentioned that estrogen is what causes migraines, especially for her. So she has to eat a very specific diet that are low histamine foods. So foods that don't have like, I think berries were in there.
So is that specifically during the luteal
Yeah,
phase?
during the luteal phase, she has to eat a low histamine diet to prevent the migraines because the estrogen gets triggered by a high histamine diet to cause migraines. So I personally also get migraines during this phase as well. But my migraines, they probably are really bad. If I went on a low histamine diet, it would be fine. But I'm not going to do that.
Yeah. How long does the luteal phase last?
Until your period starts. So if we're saying day 15 to 16 is when on average the ovulation phase is, let's just say, then from 16 onwards, whether it's the 28 or the 35, the rest of it's luteal.
Yeah.
The first part of luteal isn't that bad, but it's the last half. That's closer to obviously your period. That's like the worst.
Yeah. So when people say like the time of the month, is that this? Is that what this is in reference to? Because I feel like it's kind of confusing. Like it's always a time in the month. It's a constant cycle.
When people say the time of their month, they explicitly mean the time that they are bleeding. When people with uteruses talk about it, they're like, oh, I'm PMSing. Because PMSing is like, oh, my period doesn't start. That's like a universal code for people with uteruses that I'm about to start my period. And so it's like I'm feeling all the shitty symptoms from this luteal phase.
Yeah. Yeah. Do you feel like in your conversations with women, is it pretty open to talk about PMSing? Like if someone is in that phase, are they fairly transparent about it?
Yeah. Because I think with people with uteruses, there's just like shared understanding that like we've all experienced. I don't know very many people with uteruses that haven't had negative symptoms. To me, like negative symptoms just are across the board. Like this is a rough time because it's like, again, like for example, Brooklyn, like she has to have a specific diet or she's gonna have migraines that will mess her up to the point where she can't socialize. She has to be in a dark room, eyes closed, like for an extended period of time. And then there's like some people who get cramps during this time too. This is also a really popular time to get cramps because the prostaglandins are still getting released, but they're trying to like stimulate the the release of the uterine lining.
So is it the same feeling of cramps both in the menstrual phase and the luteal phase?
Yeah.
I see. Yeah.
It's the same feeling. When we talk about cramps, you can have like cramps in your front or your cramps in your back. Like I get a lot of back cramps. I get mostly cramps in the back and then mostly in the front when you're
in the menstrual phase.
Like the front will be added once the menstrual phase begins.
Yeah.
So it's just an unpleasant time all around. But if there is no pregnancy, if the sperm doesn't meet the egg, the estrogen and progesterone will drop. And what the drop is what triggers the bleeding. And that's when the cycle starts all over again.
Right. Yeah.
All right. So just a little bit more about period blood. What is period blood? Period blood is blood, uterine tissue, and cervical mucus. And there's definitely going to be color variations. If you're seeing a bright red, that's usually like fresh blood.
And then if you're seeing like a darker red or brownish, that's older blood or like more oxidized blood. So it's like been more exposed to oxygen. If you have any uterine blood that is either gray, orange, or black, those could potentially be causes for concerns. So you should check in with your doctor if those are the case. But if you're listening, the link to the presentation is in the description. So you can see there's a chart here that I have that shows the different types of blood. Oh yeah, if you have pink blood, there could be a deficiency. So consider
like an anemia. Yeah.
There's also clots. People get clots sometime. So
Like
clots?
little chunks.
That's like usually dark brown or dark red. They happen if you have a heavier flow, and it's just coagulated blood. And they appear normally in their heaviest days or when there's a lot of cramping. If they happen a lot, it can be endometriosis or another menstrual condition. The next episode after this is going to be on menstrual products, which will go into deeper, just as a heads up.
Yeah.
All
So
right.
hold questions on
menstrual products.
Products.
That'll be next episode.
Got it.
All right. And then we've already talked about menstrual cramps. But menstrual cramps are when the uterine muscles contracts and blood vessels constrict. And this is triggered by prostaglandins, which is a hormone-like substance. But that is what causes period poops.
I don't know what that is.
You don't know what period poops are?
I don't.
Period poops is when you have more diarrhea or you just need to use the bathroom more because the prostaglandins.
This is during your menstrual phase?
Yeah. Prostaglandins get released that causes cramping.
Okay.
So when those are released, you cramp, but that cramping can also contract the bowels in the back. And then so sometimes you can either have to need to poop more or you're more likely to have diarrhea.
Okay, so it's not necessarily like, oh, the blood is directly affecting your stool, but it's just like your muscles are being triggered differently.
Yeah, because of this hormone-like substance. Cramps tend to peak during the first 2 days of menstruation, but from my experience and from experiences of other people with uteruses, usually the PMS symptoms. It also happens like a few days before your period's about to start. Or that could just be back pain, just get a lot of pain. It just hurts a lot.
Yeah. So it's a muscle contraction of the actual uterine muscles itself.
It feels like, for me, that imagine someone is taking a knife and just like scraping your insides.
Yeah. Because I guess I always assumed that the cramps themselves were the feeling of the uterine lining peeling off. But that doesn't actually sound like what this is. It's just the muscle that's contracting.
Yeah, people with uteruses have described it. It's like a stabby feeling. Sometimes it's just like a dull ache. Sometimes it's a sharp ache. I've heard it being described in every which way possible that pain can be described.
Right.
So it really just varies. And it can depend on like where you are at in your menstrual cycle too. Like during PMS or during your menstruation phase.
Have you ever talked with, I don't know, like an older person with a uterus and heard anything from, like, does it change over the course of someone's life at all? Or does it kind of feel like it's very consistent? Like let's say that you feel dull pain. Like, are you fairly consistent about feeling dull pain month in and out?
It changes. I mean, I think some people have been consistent. Like, I think my cramps when I was younger were sharper. And I feel like as I've gotten older, they're not, I don't feel like I get as much sharper pain. I get a little bit more of like achy pains, like dull achy pains. I remember my mom telling me like she would have really terrible menstrual cramps, but then my grandma would never have menstrual cramps. And so when my mom would be young and telling my grandma like I'm in so much pain, my grandma wouldn't believe her because she's like, I never experienced that.
Yeah,
like you're just complaining kind of thing.
Yeah, so it seems like it's very maybe not as consistent even within a family.
Yeah,
like it's kind of all over the board.
Yeah, it really varies from person to person.
Has anybody ever given you any kind of like tips or anything like that related to reducing the pain, or is there a way to reduce the pain? Like, are there foods you could eat while you're in the menstrual and luteal phases or anything like that that like can help with it, or is it kind of just like you don't have a choice?
I mean, you can take ibuprofen, and they even have those pills that are specifically for like menstrual cramps. I personally don't like to take them because I just don't like the fact that it's like I'm constantly treating this ailment with.
I was more curious about like if there was a way to
naturally reduce cramps.
well, not necessarily natural, like reduce them, but like reduce the impact of them or something. Because like I have heard that like you can have cranberry juice, for example, is like beneficial, but I don't actually know if that's a real thing or
pickle juice is helpful.
Pickle juice because of the salt.
Pickle juice tends to be the one that people tend to say like helps with menstrual cramps. It helps with all cramps though. But there isn't something that taking it beforehand prevents cramps.
Right. Yeah.
I don't believe so. And then on top of that, you get fucking cravings.
Right. Yeah.
Like I get cravings for spicy things.
During your luteal?
I get cravings for very salty things. Where there was a period of time I wanted salt and vinegar chips all the time. Hot Cheetos, spicy things. I really crave spicy things when I'm on my period. And then just general, I have stronger cravings for specific foods during the luteal phase than I do in any other phase. Like the luteal phase is always when I'm like telling you like I want to go Korean barbecue or something specific, like a food I just want. Versus any other phase, I'm pretty fine with cooking something at home or just like making something simple.
Yeah.
But that's just my personal experience. Like cravings tend to happen more so during the PMS symptoms.
And is that across the board generally?
Food cravings.
More cravings happen in the...
like a lot of, a big one is chocolate. Some people really like to have chocolate during that phase. And so I have you go get me my dark chocolate from the really expensive Swiss chocolate place. Because it's just something it helps my soul.
Yeah.
Luteal phase is also a time your body will crave more carbohydrates. And so, because it's like your body being like, okay, we need to protect and prepare your body for nurturing
the extra energy that we need to nurture the new baby
or whatever. And so there's like this higher craving of like wanting, for me specifically, like baked goods. Like I want brownies, or like I want a baguette, like I want like bread.
Yeah.
So carbs and chocolate are very popular PMS foods.
And do you feel like in luteal phase that people tend to have the same cravings? Like I know that like for example, people who are pregnant have kind of unique cravings, right? But do you feel like, at least in your experience, you personal or like people you've talked to, like the like in your typical luteal phase, is it the same cravings over and over again?
When there's like specific, I think each person that has their like, oh, these are the things I want. But again, it could vary. Like there's sometimes I'm like, I want brownies, and I want to make brownies, or I like want to bake cookies. But then there's other times where I'm just like, oh, I just want the like piece of dark chocolate or whatever. So it just depends on like, I think the overarching, like generally it's within the vein of a carbohydrate and or chocolate
and things.
Yeah, or like something salty. Salty is also a popular one too, I think.
Mm-hmm.
It varies.
Yeah. Yeah, interesting.
Comment below on what your favorite period food is. Mine is hot Cheetos. I like hot Cheetos. When I'm luteal is when most of my cravings happen. But you can have cravings also when you're on your period.
Right.
I think my period is just so short because it's only like 2 to 3 days.
Yeah.
That I don't necessarily think there's very many craving.
Mm-hmm.
I think because people aren't as knowledgeable about the different phases of like their period, women are just taught like, oh, your period sucks. Being on your period sucks. So I don't necessarily feel so crappy on my period, but my period would be longer when I was younger.
Mm-hmm.
I think I would internalize the frustration of being on my period, even though like it's technically a follicular phase because PMS is the like more intense symptoms for me personally.
Right. Yeah. I definitely, like, at least in my experience, it definitely varies a lot by the person too.
Yeah.
I'm coming at it from the angle of someone who doesn't experience any of these things, right? And yet, when I've talked with people who have experienced the menstrual cycle, it's very inconsistent, right? Like, 'cause everybody does experience different lengths of time, different symptoms during each time, different side effects, different effects by birth control. Like, everything is super varied, right? And so, like, it kind of depends. Like, if you have a close friend or a romantic partner who is going through this cycle, you honestly probably can't make too many conclusions based on other conversations with other people. You probably just have to ask that person directly, like, hey, what do you feel on your cycle, and do you feel like you'd benefit from like having chocolates during your luteal phase or whatever, right? Like, that's kind of what I'm getting at, is like, for those people who are listening who may not experience this, like, how can you engage with this cycle a little bit more?
Yeah.
Be knowledgeable about it.
I mean, obviously research about it. And then again, don't dismiss a person's experience. Just communicate with your partner. And just because you don't experience it doesn't mean it's not happening.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Which now that you know more about period cramps, it's time to try your period cramp simulator. If you want to stop, just say follicular.
Follicular.
So before we start, what do you think it's going to feel like?
Well, okay, so here's my 2 cents on it, right? I feel like what I'm kind of expecting is something that I don't think too many people will probably have felt, but growing up on a farm, there is a thing where livestock usually has like an electric fence that keeps animals in. And if you've ever held an electric fence, basically the feeling is kind of like an electric pulse that kind of goes through your body at a very like sequential rate, like a very predictable kind of like pulse rate. And while I don't think that it will be the exact same, that's kind of what I'm expecting it to feel like, almost like an electrical shock, sort of. But I think that that's probably me biasing it based on the fact that this is a like electronic machine that's like sending a pulse. Obviously, it's electric, like to currently 4 pads that are attached to my 2 on my butt area and 2 on my front.
Yeah, 4 in your lower back.
Lower back area.
And then 2 are in your front.
Yeah.
Let's do it. You ready?
I'm ready.
You feel anything? This is level 1.
I don't think I feel anything at 1.
I didn't either.
I can feel 2. It kind of feels like static, like discharge or something.
Yeah.
Like you're feeling like you're holding onto a computer or something that's got like an little extra juice in it.
Yeah.
So that's 3.
This is 3.
That's what it feels like? Like it feels like... So, okay, so what I'm feeling is almost like it's very mechanical feeling. Like it's very extremely pulsy.
Yeah, because it's not just like a consistent pain. Sometimes it's like, ugh, like out of
Right.
nowhere. It can be a pulsing pain. This is 3.
I'm trying to describe this. Like if I could describe this in words, it almost feels like it doesn't feel sharp. It doesn't feel sharp at all. But it does feel like somebody like tapping you like repeatedly in a very specific spot. But like when they're tapping you, they have like an electric charge to them. That's what it feels like.
Mm-hmm. Okay, 4.
Sure. It still feels kind of like tapping, but I would say there's like if you've ever like held like I don't know, like a grocery cart that has like an electric static discharge on it. Like that's kind of what it feels like. But it feels like that in your muscles that are getting affected by this.
Okay, 5.
5.
Does it feel painful at all?
It doesn't feel painful. It feels like it's definitely unpleasant. Like it's definitely like it would be super annoying to have this happen like over and over and over again. But I wouldn't call it painful.
Well, let's keep going up. Now we're at 6.
Okay, that's the first time that I can actually feel like my muscle like contracting, like without me wanting to contract it. Like my belly muscle is kind of like pulling in after the shock of it
Mm-hmm.
without me like trying to do anything. So it's definitely like I can feel like my body like reacting to it.
Mm-hmm.
I would say if this was like out of the blue, I would be
Concerned.
yeah, I would because I can feel my own muscles like releasing after the shock.
Do you think you could work all day like this?
I could do it. It would be super annoying.
Yeah.
Like it would be really annoying, I would say.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
hang on, I'm curious though because like so right now if I could describe the frequency of it, it's almost like and then like a kind of a
Yeah,
pause.
right.
Is that the same like and then over and over again? But I don't know if that's like the frequency.
It's not like a couple seconds and it stops. It can be like a couple seconds and stops. It could be like several hours of just the constant pain.
Yeah.
It's just 7.
Yeah, I feel like the best way to describe it is like you're holding on to like an electrical appliance or something that's letting go of extra electricity and it's going into your lower back.
Is this still pulsing?
Yeah, it's still pulsing. That's super annoying. Like that's genuinely frustrating if it was like this. Even for like an hour, this would be like I would not be happy.
This is 8.
Ooh. All right.
And then
That is, I would say that is painful. Like I can feel like my lower right leg is like contracting without me wanting to contract it.
yeah. 9 and 10 is how I feel like mine is. So this is like this next one is gonna be how I feel.
Yeah. Ow. Yeah, that's super awful. I will say it's an extremely different sensation than getting kicked in the balls. Like,
Oh,
I don't see
yeah.
it. There's no relation whatsoever to it. Like this feels so much more kind of like what I was expecting in terms of like an electrical shock than
You're shaking.
no, it's like it like I feel like I need to like my natural response to this is to like pull my legs in towards my chest.
Yeah, so that's why a lot of like the girl in the picture, it's just like a lot of time you just want to be like,
Curl up
curl
and,
in a
like,
ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, and fetal position. And so this is how this, and I would say 10 is how painful my periods are.
Yeah.
This, and then this is 10 now.
Ow. I feel like that feels like you're at a bad masseuse and like they're really just like jamming into you in a particular muscle.
Yeah. And then these could be like sharp, like pain.
Yeah.
I would say this is more of an example of like the like dull, achy pain
Yeah.
versus like the
The sharp.
sharp pain. Because the
Yeah.
sharp pain is like Does that know you're just like, Jesus, what
Yeah.
the heck?
When it happens to you, does it feel like out of the blue? Like, where you'll just be like hanging out doing whatever, and then all of a sudden it'll go into something like this frequency?
Yeah.
Like,
Not frequencies, but yeah.
you'll
Like
get
it'll
one
be
of those pulses.
not just like the pulses, but it could be like that just pain feeling
Yeah.
for like several hours. Or
Right.
it can just get like immediately triggered. There's very few times where it like dips down. It's just like a constant ache.
Yeah. I definitely like, I can feel my body just being like, like it is moving without me wanting to move. Like,
Yeah.
it's compressing my legs without me like reacting to it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'm gonna turn it off now because you've had the experience.
So interesting. I will say it's like super debilitating, I would
Yeah.
say.
Could you clean a whole room?
I wouldn't want to.
Yeah. Would
Yeah.
you have to, if you had to go into work?
I would be extremely frustrated.
Yeah.
Like, I would not want to do it at all. Like, I would not want to feel this for an hour.
So do you think the pain is sharp, dull, cramping, or just tightening? Like this specific?
It doesn't feel like a cramp to me. It feels like an electric shock. It feels like an electric shock that is like...
Yeah.
The weird thing is that it actually genuinely, without me wanting to, makes my legs want to compress, you know?
Would you tell someone, like, oh, I'm hurting?
If I was at this level, yeah, I would. I would say something.
Could you comfortably sit in a meeting?
No. No, I would not. I would not want to be like sitting down for an hour.
Do you want to be in public? Okay, imagine this, and then also you have a migraine.
Yeah, right.
You have a migraine.
Yeah.
And your boobs hurt.
Yeah. Yeah, it sucks.
And then you want to take a nap. And all you want
treats.
is Korean barbecue, and then your partner's telling you no.
I don't say this to diminish it, because like the immediate thing that I feel like guys do is like we can only compare it to getting kicked in the balls, right?
Yeah.
And it feels genuinely nothing like that. I think that getting kicked in the balls is more painful. Like it's more painful, but it's very short.
Yeah. Versus
And this just goes on and on and on and on, and that's why it sucks.
That's why I don't want to take medicine all the time, because I think there's also just this level.
Like
I can suffer through it because I've already like lived this. I don't know. I could even say my period pain as a kid was worse, because it could just be like I've gotten so used to the pain now that I don't consider like what's worse. Okay.
It's really throwing me off because of how much like I'm sitting down right now, right? And so if I was standing up, I'm gonna try and stand up. Like, yeah, that honestly, that's worse. Like standing up is so much worse.
Yeah.
That's actually genuinely painful. Like, I would definitely want to be sitting down for this.
Yeah. Remember how like even when I'm over here, I'm like bending over.
Yeah.
It's like for me, it's just like if you take out the ones in the front, but it's like 1,000 times. Like if you just put more on your back.
Yeah.
For me, it's like all my lower back just feels like it's pain.
Yeah. It definitely, like, from my perspective, it definitely feels significantly better to be sitting down or curled up in the fetal position.
Yeah.
Like,
and then now someone to tell you, oh, you should go work out because light exercise will help you.
Right.
Really don't fucking tell me what to do.
Yeah. But I have heard that though. Like I genuinely
helps.
heard it. Like,
no, walking helps. But doing like a heavy workout like lifting is hard. It's doable, but it's harder to do in some aspects. Like if you're just cramping, it's more of just the fatigue of feeling tired. Like add the feeling tired, having a headache.
It's everything together.
And everything together.
Feeling your hormones all out of whack.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're doing great.
It does hurt. Like it definitely
So if I do,
definitely
could you
does.
do the rest of this episode with this on?
I mean, here's the thing is like I could do it. I genuinely would not want to though.
Yeah.
Like it's so frustrating. Like it just feels like
Yeah. And then your partner tells you, oh, are you on your period or something? Why are you acting so hormonal?
yeah.
Imagine now you just see a little like sad puppy commercial and now you're just crying
Yeah.
on top of this.
Yeah.
And then your partner is like, what's wrong with you? It's not that bad.
Yeah. It's definitely bad. Coming from me, it is definitely bad. Yeah.
I mean, you don't tell me to do any of these things, so it's fine. You're very nice to me, and I get anything I want on my period.
Yeah. I can imagine if I was in this, if I was feeling what I'm feeling right now, and anybody, like, I would have such a short fuse with anything.
Right. Why do you think I get mad all the time?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's why you're not allowed to take the piss out of me when I'm with you. Like, I'm fucking making sure we don't have a baby.
Yeah. Yeah. Super interesting.
All right. Yay.
Thank you for your service every month.
Yeah. All right. Did anything surprise you about trying this?
I didn't expect it to be as like pulsar like as we like increased the ramp up from like 1 to 10. It felt like somebody was like tapping you really 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 hard. Like that's the way I would describe it is like so I wasn't really expecting that at all. I was like every time that I have kind of assumed what it would feel like would be more like a slow rising constant feeling and then kind of a going away feeling, like an ebb and a flow, but not like a a frequent kind of a.
Anytime when I've had cramp and I'm just like, oh, like that's that one where it's just like it feels like more of like a stabby,
Yeah.
like sharp pain, and then anytime I'm just like, oh, like I'm cramping, like it's just like it's the constantly like achy.
It feels nothing like a muscle cramp. Like I don't think it feels anything like a tough muscle cramp. But that's what I always assumed. Because a muscle cramp is very much like a slow kind of like I'm like
but it
clamping.
just feels like there's like a big like a pressure on with the muscle,
it
like
feels
a
like
leg
it's
cramp.
compressed. Like when I say a muscle cramp, I feel like like I can feel a specific muscle that feels very compressed or like it's tweaked or something. Like this doesn't feel like that at all.
No,
it doesn't feel. It feels much more like repeated, I guess I would say. And obviously, I know part of that's like coming from this little machine that we have, right?
Yeah.
But if you're saying that's what it feels like,
I think like if some of it will just be like, okay, it went from like a 9, like a general like 9, to like now it's consistently staying at like a 7 or 6. Where I'm like, okay, well I just suffered through 9, so like I can manage the like 7 or 6.
Yeah.
Because it's not the most painful thing that I've experienced.
Right.
You know?
I definitely feel like, just for context, I don't think that I have a very high pain tolerance. Like if I get hurt, I generally like, I know people who have much higher pain tolerances than I do, right? And I'm curious, like, I think you have a fairly high tolerance to pain, I would say, as like an external person. But do you feel like when you have period cramps, what's the duration you feel like that you have to go through feeling like any of those numbers on that 1 to 10 scale?
Like what's the longest?
Yeah, like is it nonstop from when you wake up to when you go to bed, or is it like
it's all day, day? Yeah. Sometimes I think, oh, it's not that bad when I'm actually on my period. It's more of the sharp pains in the front.
Yeah.
But if it's like a luteal, it's like pains like crampy, achy pains on my back.
Yeah. Does it feel like, so when on the little machine that we have, right, it was kind of like pulse and then maybe like 1 second of downtime, 2 seconds of downtime, and then another set of pulse, right? Does that same frequency feel like that's what you...
No, it's just all pulse all the time for like an hour.
Oh, okay. Like it doesn't go away
It
at all.
doesn't,
Yeah.
there's no like downward shift all the time.
Mhm.
Sometimes it's just straight up like, okay, like I'm cramping. I don't want to get up right now. Like I'm,
Yeah. Yeah, that sucks. That really sucks. Like it sucks because like I never see people... See, this is where the like, you know, the nomenclature is tricky, right? Because I never see women who decide to take the day off anywhere near their, you know, time when they're feeling cramping, right? And obviously I don't know if they're cramping or not because that's not something people talk about, right? But obviously it happens. Like it's not like you go through an entire month without feeling this, you know? It happens every single month consistently.
yeah.
So when I think about that, I think like, oh, that means that there are people who I have known and have worked with who have sat through whatever ass meeting we had to do with, or had to stand up through the meeting that we had to go through, or whatever it was, right, while feeling that. And that sucks.
Yeah.
That full on sucks.
Yeah. You kind of just like continue on because you're used to feeling this like level of pain.
Yeah. I would genuinely say like even the like 6, 7 ratings on that thing, if I had to feel that all day, I would not want to do nearly as many things that I typically would do if I wasn't feeling that.
Yeah.
Like not even close. You know, I would have no desire to like clean the room or like run an errand to Target. Like
Yeah.
not necessarily because it's that painful, but because it's like because of the constancy of it and like feeling like, wow, this just eats at you. Yeah.
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 Well, thanks for going through that. This is obviously a simulation, so it can't properly explain, but I think it gave you a good insight.
It definitely helps to like see your reaction to also wearing it, right? Like, because like me wearing it, I mean, I have literally nothing to compare it to, right?
Yeah.
But like if you compare it to that and you're saying like, well, this feels kind of roughly like what it feels like.
I'm cramping right now.
Yeah. Oh no.
Be like 3 or 4
That's stupid.
right now.
Yeah.
Because I think because like we talked about masculinity in the last episode, and with men being the quote unquote dominant gender in society, and then also being taught masculinity, like you don't show when you're in pain and you just like power through and you're tough. And then like for some reason that belief is translated to the expectation of how women are supposed to handle periods. It's like you're not supposed to deal with it. You just continue living your life and you deal with it. And it's interesting that when we get to this point of people saying like, no, like I'm in actual physical pain, then society being like, well, too bad.
Yeah, right. I think that's a frustrating thing, right? Is like if it's something that you're feeling, that's what I get from this, right? Is like if I was feeling these sensations all day and I had to just like quietly do it and nobody could talk about it, like I would want to talk about that. I would want to be like, sorry, I'm like cramping, like I feel like I'm cramping, right? And have somebody understand what that feels like. Right?
Yeah.
Rather than just like me trying to do my thing without anybody knowing. You know, it's painful enough that I would want to say something to somebody.
Yeah.
Right?
So there are some people who have worse cramps. They'll have like endometriosis or PCOS or some other sort of like issue that makes their cramps worse. And then imagine that there's a lack of research about these because menstruation and learning about menstruation is taboo, or and views of it, which we'll go into in the next segment, have always kind of been seen more of like it's dirtier. So then now all these people are just like experiencing extreme levels of pain, aren't getting the care for it,
Right.
and then also being dismissed about their pain
Yeah.
because people don't know these.
Yeah, if you're the patriarchy, right? And you don't never feel what this feels like, you know, how can you possibly say, oh, well, you know, it's unclean, right? Like, we don't even want to, we're not even going to like look into like medical help for this or whatever, or research for it, because it doesn't affect us. This is much more like a constant feeling, like a frequent feeling that doesn't go away, right? And I think because of that, it's hard for me to like think of what it would feel like to have to go through that for a whole day, you know, and know that there's not really any, like, no one's going to not take pity on you, but like not hear you when you say like, I'm hurting, you know. That's really frustrating. It sucks. Genuinely sucks.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's the bell. Looks like we're out of time, but we're not done yet. In 2 weeks, join us for part 2. Have any questions about human sexuality? Submit them to our anonymous form linked in the show notes. Your homework? Share this episode with a friend, because the best way to destigmatize sex is to talk about it. And if you're ready for extra credit, grab our free Essential Sex Conversations workbook by signing up for our newsletter. That's it for today's lesson.
We'll see you in the next one.
See you in the next one. Class dismissed. Bye.